If you'd like some very cheap and very reliable coins, check out FIFACoinZone.com. I'll have a link in the description down below. Use Fangs for a 5% discount. They have 3 different ways of purchasing coins, so definitely check them out. Hey guys, how's it going? It is Fangs, and welcome to a video that you guys have been asking for forever. So you guys love when I tell my different stories that I've had throughout my life, and I have tons of story videos, and I have tons of things that have to do with like growing up and things that happened when I was younger and all this stuff. But today, I decided to bring you another paranormal activity, or as I like to call them, ghost story. So this one dates back to probably whenever I was in the 3rd grade, and I lived in quite a few houses whenever I was growing up, but we moved into a house on what I believe was called A Street in Miami, Oklahoma. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. I don't know, it's like on this corner. I don't have the exact address. I could ask my mom, but I didn't do it before I made this video. But we moved onto a house in A Street, and it was this big white house. It wasn't like too big, but before it was built, apparently, like, it was a rebuilt, modeled house over what used to be a, like, old folks home or something like that. And I called it an old folks home. I don't know what you guys call it, retirement. I don't know what you call it, but I said old folks. But it was like a 3-story house, and it had a basement. And something happened at one point, and it ended up burning down. And so they ended up, like, they were able to keep parts of it, and they turned it into a house. And it was a 1-story house. It had a basement. From the basement, you could walk into the backyard. The backyard was very big. It had like a garage that you could go to that was on the side. It was not connected to the house. And then you had to walk up these stairs from the backyard. There were like these brick stairs, and it took you into the kitchen. And right next to the kitchen was my room. My room was to the left, so I was like at the end of the house. And there was this humongous kitchen. And then you walked into like through the kitchen, and if you looked down to the right of the kitchen, there was this black cage. And the black cage looked into the basement. So it wasn't like you open up a door or you like climb down somewhere to get in the basement. No, you just had like a walkway, and there was a black cage, like a big door shutting you off from going down, but you could look directly into it. So if it was dark, you looked into darkness. And so past that, you walked into the living room, and into the living room was like, you go from the kitchen, living room, here to the left was a big living room, and then to the right was 2 bedrooms. One of them was my parents', which was on the left, and then my sister's, who was a baby at the time, who was on the right. And when we moved into the house, it had already been owned by some other people before us, and so it had like a big Pinocchio painting on my sister's wall. And then in the basement, because there was not an extra room for my brother, I had an older brother at the time, we ended up we started to build his bedroom, but it didn't get completely finished, so it was like these like random pillars that like blocked off that created a bedroom for him. So he was down there, but he was literally never home. Like, it was very rare. My brother has always been a nomad, and so he was never home. And there was also the washer and dryer down there, and it was a pretty open area. So if you wanted to be able to run around or you needed to do something, like I had a birthday party down there, and it was pretty sick, but it was very open. So this house, from day one, there's been houses that you move into. I don't know if you have this problem, but there's houses that you move into that there's just something not right about them. They're just creepy. And this house was one of those houses. So I had my room in the back room. And in these type of houses, you have central heating and air or whatever. I don't know what like causes this, but you have vents. And the vents, like ours, at least mine, I could actually hear down into the basement. And I'm pretty sure I could see down into the basement. Like, if you pop the vent off of it, it was in the floor, you could see down into the basement. So in my bedroom, at night, I was already having like situations where I thought I heard something, but I didn't. You know, at that time, you don't want to be foolish about it, but you think you hear like snickering or like people talking in the basement. And I'm not joking with this at all. And I believe I told this story before when I was much smaller, and I did it over a Call of Duty video. And people were like, oh, it's probably your brother. No, my brother was not there, and he didn't have people over. Like, half the time he was not there. He was out staying with my cousins or doing something, or he was just never around. So you'd hear like these voices in the basement. But it could have been my imagination. I imagine at that time, that age, you have a crazy imagination, so it could have been that. Something else I can remember is always walking back and forth, like around that cage or whatever. I wish I could find a picture of it so you could see, because it's creepy enough as it is to be able to look down into the darkness of the basement, which you have stairs that you go down into. But being able to look down there, and I just always felt very uneasy. Like, every time I walked by it, I like didn't want to look, because something about it made me feel very uneasy. So there is a night. This is the one biggest paranormal activity I had in this entire house, and it was one of the scariest moments of my entire life. There was a night, I was in the living room. My mom was a nurse, so she had been out, she had a night shift, and she had been out working that, and then my stepdad worked nights as well. I was very young, to be honest. I was left home pretty young, but we lived in a small town and it wasn't unsafe. And so my sister, I believe, was being watched by her grandmother. My brother was out of the picture. He had gone over, I think he was at my cousin Nick's house, which is in Commerce, in a whole other city. So I was there by myself, and it was like a Monday night or something like that, so I was watching WWF. I was addicted to Stone Cold Steve Austin at this time, so in order to keep myself busy, I was watching it, and I was sitting, I remember, there was a long chair, and then there was a TV in front of it, and then there was a green chair here to the left, and so I'm sitting here, and I've locked, I was crazy, I'm still about this to this day. I locked the doors, and that one had these huge locks, so you could hear them, and it was just like you could hear them lock or whatever. And I'd got up a few times, and I hadn't paid attention to what was going on in the household, but I made sure the front and the back door are locked, and then the basement, I even would lock that cage, because I knew if my brother was there, then it'd have to be unlocked, but I locked that cage. So I'm sitting in my seat, watching WWF, pretty pumped, because I get to see Steve Austin. It was a very exciting moment. And I start to hear something fall or drop from back like where my room is, and it comes out of my closet. So I walk back to I don't know why. Why in these moments, when I watch movies, I don't think about it. Like, I'm just like, what are they doing? But me, I decided to walk back to my room to just kind of check to see what was going on. And there was nobody in there. There was nothing in there. So I continue to walk from my room, because I have to walk past that cage, from my room, past that cage. And I don't look down into it because I'm just terrified. I don't want to look down to see, like, I imagine some, like, little girl ghost or something's going to pop up. So I don't walk by it. I don't pay any attention to it. But I kind of, like, I'm hearing things a little bit in my head. And I'm like, this is just, let's go watch wrestling. This is going to be okay. You're just, it's just nothing. It's going to be nothing. And I go and I sit down on my couch. And I continue to watch, and I continue to hear, like, random noises and stuff like that. I'm like, what is that? Like, is somebody in the house? I start freaking out. I have no idea what's going on. And I get into this, like, very serious moment of the wrestling match, and out of nowhere, it was just like, boom! And my front door just slang open. Like, nothing I had ever seen before. Like, there was no wind outside. There was nothing going on. It literally just swung open. And I remember just being in shock and terror, and I probably turned white. I couldn't feel my body. I have no idea what I looked like, but I just got up out of my chair, ran out the front door, and just started running as fast as I could to get away from the house, just running full speed. My Aunt Cindy lived probably 5 blocks away. I didn't stop the entire time. I didn't care who was around me. I didn't stop the entire time. I ran all the way to my Aunt Cindy's house, and I got there, and I was just freaking out, and I was mad, and I was like, there's somebody in the house, or there's something in the house, I don't know what's going on. And my aunt's like, calm down, like, you're fine. And I just remember, like, sitting there just crying and being so upset, because I had never seen anything like it in my life, for one, and for two, the door was locked. I'm almost positive the door was locked, unless as I got up to go in my room and come back, somehow it got unlocked, and I want to know how it happened. The door was locked, so I'm just, like, devastated at this point, and I'm just so shocked, and I'm just in terror. And my mom, we had to call my mom. She had to leave work to go check the house, because I was like, there's got to be somebody in there. Something's got to be in there. So my mom goes. When she shows up to the house, I hadn't closed the door on my way out. It was still open. It had been slung open. The door was closed, like somebody had come and closed it, and there was no wind. Like, I'm not saying like, oh, it could have just been like closed because there was some kind of, well, it could have opened because of some wind. It was just closed. And it was like everything was fine. And she said there was nobody in the house. Like, there was nothing off, nothing was taken. There was nothing going on with the house. And that, for me, was one of the scariest moments of my entire life. Like, it was hard for me to even stay there after that. I had this situation in some of my houses with my mom, and that was one of them, where I just started staying at my Aunt Cindy's house because I was so terrified of that house. Anyways, guys, that is the story of my paranormal activity in my household. There's some other things that kind of creepily happened in there, but that one wasn't too bad. I just didn't really stay there after that to be able to, like, experience those creepy things, because I just couldn't take it after that. But that was that for that household. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy it, I have a few more ghost stories. If you guys want to hear them, put it in the comments down below. If you want to hear some other type of life stories, I've got quite a few of those as well. Put those in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this and you want to hear more of these, say 10,000 likes. That would be greatly appreciated. Until next time, see you guys later.